On this week's show, should I go into debt to invest in property?
In the news, we take a look at the world's worst Airbnb.
And we're going to be answering all your property-related questions. Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends. Hi, I'm Mr. Leeds.
I'm Alasdair Cunningham.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. We're going to be talking about debt and leverage, and you're going to be showing us the world's worst Airbnb. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a really good show. Before we get started, have you had a good week?
Yeah, it's been all right. Just been training events, lots of back-to-back training with Crash Course, DFE, and then we had a few days off at the weekends. So
Alistairs put the company card behind the bar and invited a few friends out at the Crash Course. How much was the barbell? How much was the barbell?
A couple £100.
A couple £100. I think it's just a fraction more than that.
I had permission.
Just a fraction more. £6,000. So he had a really good night. He had a great night. I was in bed, but I heard it was a storm. I actually had a very chilled out. I mean, obviously we did the Deal Finding Extravaganza, which was really good.
Yeah, but it was a nice venue. It was a new venue. We've never been there before. And it was very nice.
Very, very nice.
Very nice venue.
And then I had a very chilled weekend.
What did you get up to?
I went to Lichfield. I live in Lichfield, but we went down to the park, walked down, had lunch, came back.
There's a canal goes through Lichfield. Is that right?
I don't think so.
There's water.
There's water, yeah.
So it's not a canal. Is it a river?
It's like a lake.
Is that like a lake? Right.
Do you know what though? I used to think it was a canal.
Yeah.
Until I went to walk alongside the canal.
Yeah.
And realised it was actually just a very long, thin lake.
Oh, okay.
It's by ego.
I don't know, but when I've been out with Samuel there, you walk over a bridge and then you've got a cathedral in the background.
I thought that was a bridge, right? And because the lake comes up to the bridge.
Yeah.
But if you look the other side, there's no water on the other side.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bridge.
But that is where you mean.
It's actually quite nice.
What I like about that area there is there's so many nice food restaurants. So like, each time I go, you go to a different restaurant, and there's Mama Thai is the best.
Where were we the other day? We were out somewhere the other day on Friday. I remember, and we walked for ages trying to find somewhere decent to eat, and we just couldn't.
Oh my days! Yeah. I say I've had a good week. That wasn't a good day. We ended up in Newcastle under Lyme.
Yeah. But anyway,
what a dive hole that is!
It is a bit of a
dive hole. We're walking around the town.
Even just to get a coffee, we really struggled, didn't we?
We saw Cafe Nero, and we were like, went in. Even that was horrible. And
we were just grotty.
Grotty. Yeah. Anyway, so a lot of people come to us and they sort of say, "Oh, I'm in debt. What should I do? Should I get myself out of debt first? What's the difference between good debt and bad debt? What when is it leverage?" It's kind of all a bit messy because I don't know about you, but growing up for me, it was like debt was always a bad thing.
Yeah.
It was you avoid debt at all costs.
Yeah.
So like even things like credit cards and that, I never did any of that. I was brought up, you just don't go into debt. Debt is a bad thing. The only thing you can go into debt is a mortgage.
Mortgage, yeah.
Outside of that, you buy your car. I used to buy my cars outright. It was everything was what I'd always save up. It was the save up, pay for it. That was how I was brought up. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I can see that, what we teach is the clear difference between good debt and bad debt. So what's good debt to you?
Good debt is anything you buy using somebody else's money that will bring you income or that will accrue as an asset. So an asset, basically. Robert Kiyosaki talks about good debt, bad debt. Bad debt, prime example, is like finance on cars, finance on holidays, clothes, anything that's going to cost you money and not actually appreciate in value, or bring you an income every month. So like, bad debts would be like holidays, clothes, cars, general spending, putting things on credit card for no reason. Whereas good debt would be purchasing a house, purchasing assets, purchasing rights to a business or something like that.
Yeah.
That's going to bring you either an income or a dividend or a capital appreciation of some description.
Yeah.
Over a period of time.
I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day. He just bought a new house, and I went round. He wanted to show me through the plans that he'd got because he's planning on totally changing it. It's like a 3-bed house. He's turning it into a 4-bed house, and downstairs it's quite a strange layout because it used to be a shop. It's all very like roomy. He's going to make it all open plan. He was showing me the stuff, and I was like, wow, it's going to look amazing when you complete this. It's quite a nice house, quite a nice area, and he was like, yeah. I said, how much value do you think it's gonna add to the house? And anyway, he goes through some of the figures, and I said to him, you know, the amount, how much you're gonna spend on it, and it ends up. I mean, he's not doing it for this reason, but it ends up actually being a really smart thing to do. It's gonna add a lot of value to the house.
Yeah,
so it's gonna cost him about 60 grand.
Okay,
but it's gonna add on about 100 odd grand's worth of the house.
Good investment.
It is a good investment, yeah.
However, there's many people out there that they still believe to this day that their home that they live in is an asset, and they believe that's good debt.
Yeah,
but it's not. Really isn't, is it?
It's a great. Go on. Why do you think
it's not? It's not. I wouldn't say it's the worst, but Robert Kiyosaki says it's still it's not an asset. It is a liability because it takes money out of your pocket every month. It doesn't put money in your pocket.
It does both, though, doesn't it? Because it is going up in value as well.
What if it's not going up in value? What if you live in the north where it's not going up in value? It's not going up in value for years.
But it will go up in value eventually. You are owning it. You are buying it.
Okay, so it becomes an asset when it's gone up in value. At the minute, it's a liability.
Yeah,
because it's costing money. It's costing mortgage. It's costing insurance, maintenance.
Hey, I mean, I'm all for renting where you live.
Yeah, I know you are.
So I'm not going to argue with you, but I think it's a bit of a grey one. That
yeah,
it's a grey. Anyway, let me tell you my story. So he's gonna make a fair bit of money. I said to him, "Well, are you going to remortgage it?" And he said, "No." I said, "Why?" And he said basically he doesn't like interest payments. Okay. And he'd rather just have much less and pay off the house as fast as possible.
Right, okay.
So if he remortgages it, he doesn't have to pay more interest and whatnot. Yeah. I was like, how much interest are you paying? 2%. I said, so if you could pull out like £100,000,
yeah,
you could invest that easily. Even if you did it badly, you can make 10% return on your investment, and then you'd be making an extra 8% out. It's not even your money. It's like one of the cheapest loans you can get.
Ever get, yeah.
And he was like,
some people just don't like it.
No, which is fair enough. But to me, that is like really good debt.
Yeah.
Remortgaging the house and you're investing it again smartly. You're going in just very small interest, but some people are just in their head. They're just debt. No, it's pay off debt, and that's like I say how I was brought up. Just pay off debt.
It's an old school thing, isn't it? It's an old generation. Like my parents are like that. My grandparents are like that. It's an old generations. But I find a lot of the sort of younger generation are more. They're happy to get into debt, but not always for the right sort of debt.
Not for the right reasons.
But they're happy to get into debt.
Yeah.
There's more debt now than there ever has been in history, and it's because people are they're very happy and very easily get into debt for whatever they want. But the problem you got is a lot of people are doing it for the wrong sort of debt. So they're getting into debt to keep up with the Joneses and to live that sort of
So would you buy
the only way is Essex lifestyle and things like that?
Would you buy furniture on finance
for my rental property?
For your own property?
No.
Why?
Because I just wouldn't.
Why?
Is this going to be like a 7 whys?
No,
right.
You need to answer one of the whys.
I don't know why at the minute. I just wouldn't, because to me, it's not actually making. It's just not. It's not an accruing asset.
If it was interest free.
Oh, if it's interest free
or very low interest, 1%.
If it was interest free, then yes.
1%, 2% interest.
Potentially.
Why?
Because if it's very low interest or interest free, and as long as I can afford to pay it, that's fine. I feel there's a bit of a but coming.
No, there's no
but.
See, I wouldn't. Right, but I don't know why I wouldn't. I suppose it depends on what I was going to use. Because even now, it feels like buying furniture.
It just
for example.
It doesn't seem right to me. Buying if it was 0%, then yeah. I would, if for instance there's a sofa you could buy on 0% interest for a year, then you'd be daft not to, as long as you can afford. As long as it wasn't going to. As long as you can afford it.
Could you not argue that, like, let's say you're $2,000 you're going to spend on a sofa, yeah, or on a suite, and you're going to get it on interest free. You're going to pay for it monthly. You could then use that $2,000 to invest in something that gave you more money back. So you could say it was the smart thing to do. While you got the low interest there, or interest free, a lot of them are interest free for a certain amount of time, aren't they?
Yeah,
and then they sting you at the end. So I suppose in that case, you use the interest free if you know that you can afford to pay it off over the 6 months.
Yeah,
it's all about budgeting and knowing what you can and can't afford. Yeah. The danger of going into debt and doing things like, well, I can use that money for this, I can use that money from this, is you can over leverage.
Yeah,
and if you over leverage it and then something goes wrong with this and you need to pay them off and you can't, so then that interest comes up and then you got to drag money over here and you get into that debt spiral.
Do you know what I've seen happen many times with people I know and things like that, is they get like a sofa on finance, £100, and they get a TV on finance, £40, and they have all this sort of stuff on 0% or very low interest, because they think, well, I can keep the money that I was going to spend and keep it in the bank. But then they spend that money in the bank on just living and eating out and just living it up.
Yeah.
But they've still got all this debt over here that's not getting paid every month. And then it's exactly what you say. It's a vicious circle.
And it comes to pay it off.
You've got to be very, very sensible. You've got to be very, very sensible. And if you're going to get into debt to build assets, that's brilliant. But you've still got to be very sensible about it.
Of course.
Debt should be taken incredibly serious. Don't think of it as, I'll just get some debt to buy an asset. No, it's got to be a good asset, and it's got to be the right sort of debt.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree. I totally agree. I think it's a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky that we live in a society where we can use that tool. It's a very powerful tool for leverage, because you can if you can borrow money to invest to make more money, it's like you're making free money.
Yeah.
So
Agree with you.
You can use it very sensibly.
What do you think
effectively.
What do you think about 0% interest credit cards and things like that?
Well, what I used to use that when I was when I first got because back when I was about, I don't know, 20, my car insurance was very high.
Okay. And
it was kind of a case of you can either pay it off all in front and it's like $1,000.
Yeah.
Or you can pay, like, I don't know what it was a month, maybe £120 a month or whatever. And it worked out about 500 quid more expensive. Yeah. So what I used to do is I used to get on an interest-free credit card and then just pay the credit card off monthly instead of the car insurance.
It's just been wise.
And
it's been savvy,
about
isn't
500 quid.
It's been savvy. And even moving credit cards that have debt to 0%. It's just being savvy with your money. And
then you can move that debt onto another one. You can consolidate the debts onto one credit card, pay it. This is the key, though. You pay it off.
Pay it off, yeah.
That's what people do is they just get more debt and more debt and more debt and more debt and more debt. And then
biggest tip, I've seen this happen many times as well, is people move a balance from one credit card to a 0%, and then suddenly they've got a credit card with zero balance, but a £2,000 credit limit. And then suddenly they say they're not going to spend it, they're not going to use it, but like 2 months' time, they've got $2,000 on there. So then they've got two credit cards with £2,000 on each. And it's just vicious cycle.
It's about being disciplined, isn't it?
Very disciplined.
Disciplined is key. Understanding. Never go into debt if you're not going to invest that money. If you're going to invest the money, so like for example, buying a house, you'd be an idiot to not go into debt and buy a house, assuming you can get. So just to buy cash outright. Well,
you wouldn't do that, because why would you buy one house when you could use that cash and buy 4 houses?
Leverage, isn't it?
Leverage, yeah.
And you can be creative. Yep. And I do very strongly believe in good debt if it's an investment. But I think that's the rule of thumb, really. If it's an investment, like we said earlier, good debt. If it's an investment, if you're using that money to get greater returns than what you're putting in, then it's good and it's leverage. As long as you're disciplined, as long as it's manageable, and you're not overstretching yourself. So if something goes wrong, it's one of the things that we talk about with the buy, refurbish, refinance strategy. Yeah, is people borrow the money to put in. And then when they want to go to refinance it and it doesn't work because the valuer said it's worth less than it is, they're then scuppered.
They're screwed, aren't they?
So it is a dangerous game when you're playing with debt.
You just got to be careful. I think you've got to be super, super careful. It's a business decision at the end of the day, and you've got to look at it from all angles, not just I can get a couple of 10 grand on as a loan and just waste it. You got to invest it wisely. It's like anything, invest it wisely. You've got to. Yeah. So.
Have you got any stories where you've used good debt?
I used. Okay, so the most recent case of me using debt was how I joined the academy. That was debt. That was via credit card.
Go on. So
I paid like a £2,000 deposit, just on debit card, and then I spoke to, and this is irresponsible of Barclaycard, I would say. So my credit limit on my Barclaycard was £4,500. Obviously, you know the academy, you know how much it is. That's not going to cut it. So I needed to raise about £10,000. I didn't have £10,000. I had about a couple of grand in my bank, maybe 4 grand left. I had 4 grand, I paid 2, so I had a couple of grand left. And I literally made a 20-minute phone call to Barclaycard and asked them just to increase my credit limit. And they basically said to me, look, we'll text you your new credit limit in the next 24 hours. And about literally half an hour later, I got a text from Barclaycard saying my new credit limit is now £16,800. So they put my credit limit up from £4,500 to £16,500 in the space of a 20-minute phone call. Now, yes, I've got very good credit. I've got no arrears. I've never had arrears. So I'm a good client. I'm a good customer to them. But still, how irresponsible is that?
Why is that irresponsible?
In 20 minutes.
Yeah, but if you've got what they're supposed to do, bring you in for an interview.
I don't know, but I just thought it was. I remember thinking, that's a little bit too quick.
But why?
Because they didn't even ask me what I wanted it for. Not really. And I never discussed what I wanted it for. So I just think it's a little bit too easily available.
You reckon?
You imagine if you were irresponsible, right? And you've got good credit.
It's not them being irresponsible.
No, I know.
And the thing is, if you were irresponsible and you waited and didn't pay them back, then next time they'd go, on your bike, mate.
Yeah, but
You
perhaps.
You just got a chance. And as long as you've got good credit and you're paying it off, they trust you.
But incidentally, I paid for the academy, and then I paid that card off within like 7 or 8 weeks, and I just dropped the credit limit back down to $4,000.
Why? I never understand people that do that.
Well, because I just did because
I'd rather have a bigger credit rating.
Yeah.
Because then, if I need it now, if you need it again now for something, you're gonna make a phone call and I'll waste 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But they might say no.
That's a good point, actually. It's a very good point.
Why would you drop it down? You just taking do you not trust yourself?
Well, yeah, no, because I've got 4 credit cards and all of them have got zero balance.
Yeah.
So
I'd rather if mine was $1 million.
It's a good point, actually. I didn't really think about it like that. I just thought
it's the natural. Though.
Yeah,
it's the thing. Oh, don't want debt. Cut that down. But restrict.
I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned that. I should have just left it where it is because I didn't need the money. I don't need the money now, but it would be handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If something come about and you wanted it, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I might have to have a phone call with them on the way home and get that up.
Even though
I don't need it.
I don't need it. I just want it.
Just want it.
Okay, it's true. I'm going to Vegas.
Yeah, let's go Vegas. Let's go to the bar. We can go to a bar.
Actually, you could probably afford it on that credit card. You can actually afford your own bar. That'd be amazing. Anyway, it's now time for this. Okay, so on the news this week, we're going to take a look at the world's worst B&B. Right, let me just explain to you very quickly the story. So, Tottenham Hotspur fan. I think he deserved it just for being a Tottenham Hotspur fan, to be honest, but whatever. Is shocked to discover his £100 a night room in Amsterdam was actually just a shipping container with a portable toilet inside, right? So,
that's brilliant.
Basically, Tottenham were playing Ajax, massive game, and he booked on Airbnb. He goes along. He's driving in the taxi up and down the road. He's like, where the hell's my cottage? Turns out on the side of the road is this shipping container which has got 3 matches. 3 of his mates are all staying in this cottage. Just 3 matches on the floor and a portable toilet to the side, and that was it.
Does it even look nice inside, or does it look like just a shipping container?
It looks. I mean, Nick can probably put pictures up on the screen. It actually looks. Oh,
but the mattresses were just thrown on the floor, weren't they? Yeah,
it's got a little heater. It's got a window. It looks okay actually, but it is just a shipping container. Now the problem with it is he then thought stuff this and went to stay in a hotel. Yeah. Asked the guy for a refund. The guy said no because it was there.
Yeah.
He put a complaint into Airbnb. Airbnb refunded him the money themselves because they don't want to look bad. But then the council, because literally what they'd done is they just dumped this shipping container on the pavement on the side of a road.
Oh, really?
It wasn't like land they owned or anything.
All right.
So that was the big problem, and then they towed it away. So for me, there's 2 issues with it. Issue number 1 is that it wasn't their land. So obviously that's obviously wrong and illegal. Issue number 2 is they referred to it in the ad as a cottage.
Well,
right, so
it wasn't a cottage.
It was clearly not a cottage. No. I mean, what you rent out is a cottage.
Yeah, mine's definitely a cottage.
This was just a shipping container. Having said that, I think if let's say you had some land that you owned and you got planning permission to put some shipping containers up, and you advertised it as a shipping container,
it could be quite retro. Do you not think people would love that if they were done up nice?
I think so.
Yeah,
people go camping, don't they? People are happy to stay in a tent.
You ever been camping?
Ever been camping? Yeah, I've been loads.
Do you like it?
No,
I can't stand it. But
I
don't know what's worse.
I haven't been since I was about 12.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse: rocking up to a campsite with a tent, or rocking up to the side of the road into a shipping container.
The worst camping experience
because it'll be ridiculously hot in there as well.
The worst camping experience. It's got a little heater in there as well.
Yeah, but if that's summer, a metal container, it's going to be like an oven. 3 blokes in a freaking metal box. Come on, man. We're Porterloo. Come on.
The worst camping experience I ever had, I went to this campsite and it was on like a slight hill. And we were like, that's probably not a bad thing because it could be quite, like a reclining chair.
Right, okay.
Thought,
so you lean back.
It could be reasonably comfortable. But what actually happened was, in the night, we just sort of like fell to the bottom of the tent, and then it rained and leaked. So we were just like lying in like.
Why would anybody go camping? That's not enjoyable, is it? It's not a holiday, is it?
The only reason I would go camping. Do you know what?
Kids.
We're about to go camping.
Oh yeah.
No, you are.
Oh yes.
We are going camping. Like,
no, we're not in a tent, though, are we?
Like we're leaving. If you guys are watching this sat live on Saturday, we're leaving tonight.
We're on the plane pretty much at this sort of time.
At this sort of time, yeah, we're going now.
But we're not going camping. We're not.
Yeah,
camping,
we are.
Mate.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Mate, I've seen the thing.
It's shipping containers. And we're paying.
No, it's not.
We're paying good money to be there.
A lot of money. No, but it's not camping. It's like it's a building. It's got. Is it really?
It's both.
Yeah, camping's fun. Is it really?
It is really, yeah. Right, so my bottom line is that I actually think it's totally acceptable. When I get up and talk about serviced accommodation, I say there's no legislation that you could literally as long as you're clear and honest about it.
So why did Airbnb ban it off? Why? Because they banned it off the site. Why was that?
Because it's illegal.
Because it's misdescribed.
It's missold. It is illegal. It is illegal because they just put it on the side of a road.
Oh yeah, okay, but it's misdescribed. It was described as a cottage.
Yeah,
it's not. It's a shipping container.
Yeah.
So if he described it as a shipping container, because Airbnb don't care that he doesn't own the land.
Could you call it like a retro? Although apparently, I was reading on the article. Apparently, someone did put an igloo up in their garden.
Yeah. Well, since Airbnb don't care that you don't own the land, because they don't ask them questions, do they?
They don't care, but
all they care about is that it's described properly. So if he described it as a...
this is their reason. Misrepresented or fraudulent listings have no place on our platform.
So he's represented it as a cottage. It's not a cottage. So if he just said a metal box...
See, if you had a picture of it like that...
Yeah. Doesn't look like a cottage, does it?
It looks a bit like a caravan, though, doesn't it?
It looks like a static home, yeah.
If you just put mobile home...
Mobile home...
I don't know.
Do you know what it looks like? Do you know on building sites?
Yeah.
Do you know when you see like the builders, they normally put a couple of containers on site, and they're for like builders to have their lunch and go to the toilet.
Do you know it's the same as well? Very similar.
It's one of them that they've just painted. That's all it is.
I used to do a bit of work with the BBC on some of their shoots as like a consultant, and it sounds really glamorous, but it really isn't. Yeah. And a lot of it is like that, where you go and have lunch, and where the changing rooms and stuff. It's all like, it looks just like a shipping container.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's too bad. I think I'm sure there'll be someone out there that can buy a bit of land.
Could you imagine though?
Put some up in your garden.
Could you imagine when you rock up to Amsterdam, you think you're going to have a banging weekend,
in your cottage.
The taxi driver's going up and down the road, and you're like, I can't find the cottage.
You're like, is that skip it?
It's that metal box at the side of the road. You'd be like, this is just the worst holiday ever.
Oh, it's very funny. Check out the article if you haven't seen it. I'm sure we'll put a link, but it is very, very funny. Right, it's now time for this. Okay, it's now time for your questions and our answers. Before we go into that, if you want to ask us a question in the future, probably one of the best places to do it is obviously on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Or you can go on the Facebook group. We normally do a Facebook Live at some point during the week. The Facebook group is Property Investors with Samuel Leeds. Join that group, and then you can ask us questions on there as well, which we'll then answer on the show. Also, if you could do us a favour, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please do leave us a review, as long as it's a good review. Don't leave us a bad review. You can leave a bad review about Alistairs, but if it's about me, please be a good review.
I don't mind bad reviews.
No, he's used to it now. He's written a book.
Well, that was hard. Right, okay.
What, taking all the bad reviews or my comment?
Your comment.
Okay. So first question, here you go. This was from Harry Jackson. This was from on the Facebook group, and his question is this. Alasdair Cunningham.
Yes.
What is the best way you find BMV deals?
This is a topic we've actually discussed quite in depth, and Simon's done quite a few videos about it. I'm sure Nick can have a link to some things. Is that all right, Nick? Some of the videos Simon's done. But some of the ways I do it, I look for properties that are a little bit run down. So a tip is look at carpets. If they're like
Was your personal house BMV?
No, not really. So if the carpets are a bit old and dated, look for old furniture, look for decoration. It's a bit poor and run down.
I'm not saying that your house is run down, but your personal house. I'm not trying to suggest that it's old, fuddy, and run down.
No, it's not.
I know. I'm just clarifying that he lives in a nice house.
Thank you. Right. Okay. So
it's actually a very, very nice house.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So
too nice, if anything.
Oh, for goodness me! I don't even know where we're at. Right. Anyway, look at carpets. Look at decoration. Look for discoloration.
Hold on. Your big tip for finding a BMV.
Just listen to me.
Is to look at carpets.
Yes.
Okay.
Listen
there you go.
to me. Right.
Carpet right got crap loads of them.
No. Old, dirty carpets. Discolored wallpapers because of like lots of signs of age in rundown property. Now the reason I say go for rundown properties and age and discoloration and all that sort of stuff is because they're the ones you're going to be able to get a bargain on. Now BMV is below market value. Now you're not going to see a property listed as this is BMV. If you do, it's very rare. You have to negotiate a BMV, and the way I do that is by picking all these points. And sort of emphasising how much they're going to cost to put right, and then negotiating a below market value deal.
I remember last time we talked about BMV, we had a big argument about what BMV, because you said there's BMV and then there's below market value and there's below true market value.
Yeah.
And I said, no, there isn't. There's below asking price and below market value.
Yeah.
And we argued about it for a while.
We don't need to argue about it because I kind of agree with you now.
Do you?
Yeah, I do kind of.
Yes!
So we can move on from that. Right, okay, so maybe we can bypass that, or we can cut that bit out. Anyway, it doesn't matter. BMV, listen, you're only going to get that if you learn how to negotiate. You've got to be a killer negotiator, and you're not going to negotiate on a property that's immaculate. You need to negotiate on a property that's a little bit run down and tired. There's loads out there. So one I just secured...
Because at the end of the day, less people, because most people, because they're buying for themselves...
Yep.
Don't want a house that looks horrible. So if the house looks horrible, there can be less buyers. Therefore, the seller has got less choice, and then you can knock them down.
100%. So an example of one I've just secured recently that I'm buying myself is a property that's worth about 105,000. We've got it for 72 grand, and the reason we got it for 72 grand is because it needs a full refurb. But the refurb, the vendors who's got it, they've been quoted like 35 to 40,000 pounds to do the refurb on it. I know I can get the refurb done for 12 to 15, but I'm not going to tell them that. I let them still think it's 35 to 40,000 pounds. So when I went into my price of like low 70s, to them that's still fair because 70 plus 30 is what it's really worth. I can get the refurb done for 10, 12,000 pounds, maybe 15 max.
I found a brilliant BMV property in Amsterdam. It was this little cottage.
Cool.
Side of the road. Absolutely. Serious discount on it. It's in the process of being towed away, so you act fast.
Act fast. Right, next question. I did see one on YouTube. Okay, so this is a question from Alex Snelson, and it's on YouTube.
Alex Snelson.
Snelson, yes.
Snelson.
Is there a minimum age to allow you to release equity or refinance your current home after adding value? Do you mean an age as in for yourself? I'm assuming if you've already got a mortgage, then you'll be fine. So basically it's mortgage age, isn't mortgage age. So like 18 or 21. So 18 for if it's your personal, but 21 is as a buy to let.
Well, is this for a remortgage?
Yeah.
Well, no,
it doesn't say remortgage. It just says refinance your current home after adding value.
If you're refinancing, it means you've already got finance. Refinance.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can get finance. So no, there's no minimum.
So it's just your mortgage age. So as long as you're over the age for a mortgage, I would. But speak to a broker. It'd be very, very good. Right. Okay. So another question from Dale Lancaster.
Last one. Where's this? YouTube.
This is on YouTube. Hi, my name is Dale.
Dale.
Love the podcast. Learning a lot.
Thank you, Dale. It really does mean a lot. Gets us right.
Gets us there, man. Gets us. Right. My question is, with a property that is shared ownership, how would you go about getting the best possible deal, or is there not one? I'm going to let you answer that question because I don't like shared ownership and I know you don't know much about it. So I'm going to let you answer it.
Sorry, I just don't understand the question. Read it again.
So if he's got a property that's got shared ownership.
Right.
How would you go about getting the best? No, sorry.
But what does that even mean?
He wants to get the best possible deal on a shared ownership property. So do you know on Rightmove you see properties that are available for shared ownership? He wants to get the best deal on that.
Is that what it says?
Yeah. Really, to be honest, both of us don't agree with shared ownership because it's a government scheme that will probably be out to benefit the government and not you. So I don't agree with it. I don't like it, and I don't advise it. What do you think?
I've never bought a shared ownership property,
I
wouldn't do. So I don't feel qualified to comment on it. But thanks for
your question.
The best deal is don't.
Personally,
if you've only got 40 grand, just go and buy a house up north.
Yeah, I would actually rent where you live and then use that money. If you've got 40 grand to invest or 20 grand, whatever, I would just rent where you live.
Where's good up north where you can buy a house for 40 grand?
Hull.
Go to Hull.
Right, one more question. Or did you say that was the last one? We've got time for one more.
But
20 years.
Right, you've got 20 years. We've got 20 years.
Right,
got time for one more.
One more. Right, okay. This is from Richard Barron.
Hey, Richard.
It's on YouTube again.
Hey, Richard on YouTube.
It's not a question, it's a statement.
Okay, well, that's a nice way to end. We can end on a statement from... Look, this is how honoured we are that you've commented, Richard. We are ending the show. I don't even know what it is, but we're so confident.
I like it.
It better not be praising you and not me.
It is.
Oh, what? We're ending...
Richard Barron.
Richard.
Remember that? Richard Barron. Al is looking slim and trim. And on that bombshell, thank you very much. Have an awesome week.
Guys, we will see you next week. Do not forget to subscribe. We're back Saturday at 7 p.m. See you then.
See you guys.